I fear the shipman. In his harmless innocence, he bares his chest like the gaping mouth of a bear trap. I fear the shipman, not being like the wolf which gives you fair warning with its fearsome teeth and angry growl. He lures you with a naive innocence and mindless tame. I fear the shipman, how he hastes to obey, not thinking what flowers he tramples, being a dog fetching a stick. I fear the shipman, who will, when told, like a vicious dog, tear me from limb to limb, feeling blameless, obeying his master. I fear the shipman, though he be my brother and walks life beside me. He remains a reed taken by every passing wind, which may swing him as an axe upon my neck. Hello and welcome to the Pupil channel, formerly called Edification, but for many reasons I've changed the name of this channel, and one of those reasons is I want to show you things from my view and not be so much an educator, but I want to share and have discussions with you. So the topic today, it's a topic that we are all fairly aware of, a topic that we have had many discussions about. Not you and I, but in general, people have been talking about this for many years. The idea of the shipman, Nietzsche wrote about it. Many brilliant minds have spoken on it. Poets have written poems about it. It's a topic that has sparked much conversation and has inspired many great people to do tremendous works. And I just wanted to take a different approach to it. As we usually, when we are discussing this topic, it's usually in a way of, okay, Nietzsche, when you read his works, it's like you get a sense of a person who has a superiority complex, and that's not what we are going for here today. And other people, they've taken on this topic as a way of a pep talk to maybe the outcast, somebody who's not getting along with society very well. So as an encouragement, people have come out to speak, whether from experience or out of love. Some people have spoken on this topic because they have family members whom or other beloved people in their lives whom they have noticed struggling because they've been outcasted. That's what I want to get into. But my approach now, I want to speak to the people who are doing the outcasting, the people who are quote unquote persecuting the misfit. And I would just like to call your attention to what you are potentially causing, the pain that you are potentially causing to these people, the precious souls whom you are potentially harming. I mean, let's say for one, you are a parent and you are you would be what we would call the stereotypical parent, the conservative parent, and you have a child who's into let's say the arts, That's usually the one. And your child wants to do art, they want to draw, they want to sing, they want to dance. And you notice this from a very young age. They're growing up and they've got all these dreams, these aspirations to make it as a performer, to make it as a painter, to make it on some grand scale with their artistic creations. But then you start, because you are their parent and because you love them, when you look at life and you look at the few artists that you know who have succeeded, and you of the things that you have understood in the world of how these entertainment and artistic industries, how they function, because of all that knowledge, you say you want to protect them, you want to take them through the most secure route. So you discourage them. You tell them, no, don't focus on that. Art, let that be a hobby, something that you do on the side, but go to school, go through school and go to college, get a degree, get a diploma or whatever, and then from there you can go and have a job. And that's the only way you can make it in life, if you just go and get a job, be employed and secure a living. To you, that might seem like you are setting your child up for life, that you are giving them the best thing possible, but that is actually harming them. Imagine, here you are, I'm sure you have lived many years of your own life and you have made countless decisions, that how you have designed your house, how you've done the interior work, how you've done even how you've designed your house outside, the lawn, everything. You have plastered your own image all over your property. It speaks of you, and you are very proud of your house. You are very proud of your belongings because they are a reflection of you. They are a reflection of your hard work. Now imagine the color of your house, which you love so much, if you had to live in a house where it didn't have that color that you like, where the furniture wasn't according to your taste, if the clothes you wore weren't according to your taste, if the hairstyle you had, it wasn't according to your taste, if everything around you was your life, but it did not reflect anything of you, of your own choosing, that you could not be happy with that. And that's the argument I'm trying to make on behalf of your child, that you might set them up with everything that they might need to survive, but that's not what always keeps us alive. You may give a person everything that they need to go on living, but if they do not have a reason to go on living, they will not. And I beg you in behalf of your child, think about it. If you are that parent who's been nagging, who has been battling with your own child, trying to change their mind that they should go the more conservative, the more conformist, the more, what's the word? The more common route of life. If you are that person, you are essentially depriving your child of the meaning to their life, the thing that makes life worthwhile for them, the thing that gives them joy. Of course you can give them guidance. Of course you know better, so you can better advise them, but can you also see that you might be killing your child? I'm not one to advocate that you give your child everything that they want, But I'm also not one to support that you should deprive your child, that you should kill their imagination. Even when I look back in my life, I'm still young, I'm in my mid-20s, and looking back through my life, I was that child that, was different, and I had dreams, I had aspirations, I had visions. There are things that I wanted to do, but I was not allowed to do because those things did not appear to have a bright future ahead of them. So I was discouraged, I was forced into other paths, and that built up such a resentment in me. It built up resentment, it built up guilt, it destroyed my self-confidence. In my late teens, I was so afraid of going out into the world, of exploring, of taking chances, because I had never learned to make decisions for myself and, face the consequences of my decisions. I had never learned to be my own person. I constantly had to, I also take fault in this. I had learned to so please my parents, my mother, that I did not stand up for myself. And that was to my detriment. But what I'm trying to communicate is that perhaps you are trying to help. Perhaps you do have all the best in mind. But also consider what the reasons why that person is chasing that thing. You might be you might be killing their spark. There are many people. If so many artists, if so many genius minds have spoken about this, and if we love to read their quotations and share them on social media, do we not learn from these and say, maybe there's something to this. Maybe we should be inspiring the youth. Maybe we should be, setting them up to aspire, to rise, to climb up in life, to be ambitious, not just ambitious for wealth, to gain and feed their own vanity, but to want to contribute something to the community, to the world in which they live in, to leave the world a better place. Because those things that call to our minds from the times of youth, those are the things that come back to us in life. And if we never got to pursue them, that's what causes those midlife crises, those mental breakdowns, when we have lived and we have now the cars, the home, the everything. Now suddenly a 45-year-old man is chasing women, is driving fast cars, doing stupid reckless stuff, because something was repressed in them. And that inner child now wants to play. It wants to explore all that they didn't get to do in their youth. They now want to act out. If you are a parent and you have a child and you have made it in the more conventional methods, in more conventional ways, that was your path. And I would like to invite you to please reconsider and try to see life in terms of, this is not your destiny, but this is your child's destiny. They have dreams, aspirations, they have potentials that you don't know. You don't know what's coming for them in the future. You don't know how far they can go. You don't know if they can be the next great thing. But it would sure be nice if they were the great thing. Rather than play it safe with them, allow them to live a life with no regrets. There's this thing that have been saying for years now, that love sometimes doesn't mean anything. Somebody could love you dearly love you, and they could be the worst thing from you. They could be the worst thing for you. They can sabotage you. They can, because of not understanding, trying to offer you something. They could offer you something that could kill you. To make a weird example of this, I recently saw this video of, I can't remember this guy who it was, but it was one of the motivation channels on YouTube, and this old man was saying that if your enemy accidentally put sugar in your coffee and you drank it, would you die? The answer is no. But if your friend, even your family, if they accidentally put poison in your coffee, then you would die. It's the point of that is that just because you love a person, it does not mean that everything that you do and feel inclined to do towards them, everything that you offer them will be a gift, will be for their good, for their life. So be careful. Be really, really careful. Now, after leaving high school, I started taking better control of my life, making my own decisions, and I can tell you in 5 years, I did things that no one could have imagined that I could do. I became somebody whom nobody could even comprehend, could have had the slightest clue that I could become. For many years of my life, I had allowed people to hinder me so that I could fit in. Do not pressure a child to be an ordinary person. No parent wants their child to be average. All parents, from my understanding, from what I've seen, at least the healthy parents, they all want their children to succeed spectacularly. They all want their children to do very well. But like I said with the thing about love, just because you have wished it, it does not necessarily always translate with the behavior from parents. Parents, they hinder their children. If your child is not a mathematician, don't bother them about mathematics. There was such a thing in my family. There was a lot of backlash when I decided to drop out of college and not pursue any further tertiary education. But at this day in my life, a few years later, I am now a practicing naturopath. I will admit that I am pretty much self-taught, but many people have been helped through my work, and I've worked with such cases that it boggles the mind. things that people have said are incurable, such things we have dealt with. And a tremendous work has been done. I walk around and people call me doctor. I now have respect from all kinds of people, old, young. When I speak, the ideas that I have in mind, the things that I'm doing with my life, the happiness that I have in my life after taking charge of my own life, it does not even begin to compare. It's like night and day difference from what my life used to be when I was trying to fit in. I was miserable. I even started messing around with substances because I was miserable. And part of the great misery was being in the schooling system, which just did not nourish me. It was just hell, hell, hell. I hated school. I hate it even more now for what it did to me. But that very same year that I finished my grade 12, my matric, it just fell from me. I haven't touched any substance. I haven't used any substance ever since, because a change had begun in my life. I was about to begin the journey of becoming my own person, and there were some mistakes, but I regret nothing. If there was ever a part of my life that I could regret and reject, it's those early years where I really dimmed my own light. I really dimmed my own light. So there are people out there, and I'm especially worried about them at their young age. That community, that society beats so hard upon. They beat them down so badly. They discourage them. They pressurize them to fit in, to do the normal thing, the expected thing, and it is always so detrimental to them. Whether you are a friend, a teacher, whether you are an employer or a church member, that mentality of trying to get people just because you have had your ways. Okay, let me speak to the person in power, in a position of authority, whether it be in a church organization, whether it be in a workplace, because I still do experience these things. I'm a bricklayer's apprentice by profession, and not to boast, but I'm fairly competent at what I do, and constantly I'm receiving much praise and compliments on the progress of my work, and that sort of thing in general. I don't like to dwell upon it much, but that's just how it is. I've got a lot of potential, and I'm using it quite well. I'm going somewhere with it. I'm enjoying my work alive. I love it, and there's a lot of evidence to show that. Now, what happens is that because I know I do my work well and I'm no slouch, I'm not lazy, there are people in the workplace whom I work with. They will be judging me so much. They will be trying to make me to fit in, because there are these unwritten rules, because you are working with us in this company. And this is not coming from anybody in leadership. This is just, I would say, peer pressure. It's pressure from my colleagues. They'll pressure me, don't do things like this. Why you always gotta go differently to how everyone's going? I'm where I am today because I did things differently. I can lay bricks better than most because I went down my own way. When I was practicing my trade, when I was learning my trade, I approached it my way, and that gave me better results, and it has made me the person whom they compliment. You know, there are people who respect me because of what I do in terms of health, but those same people, they'll still try to make me fit in. I am where I am today. I am what I am because I took my own path. You know, that's what I'm trying to communicate basically, that whether you are a colleague, a friend, don't impose stupid rules upon people just because, no, this is how we do things. Why? Is there a necessity for things to be done specifically in that way? If there is no necessity behind a rule, squash it. Squash it. If you are a person in power and you have somebody working under you, they have their unconventional ways. If it's not harming anyone, if it's not a disruption in the workplace, not because people are bothered, because they are petty and want to control everything and they want everybody to do how they do and not to, well, of course there's also the issue of jealousy, not because they are jealous and because they don't feel free or they are not bold enough to express who they are. You know, those type of things, don't allow those things to flourish from others or even yourself. Don't be that person who will impose stupid rules. Don't be that person who hinders things that you have no business hindering. I specifically even mentioned that even in a church situation, if you're a leader in the church, the Bible is a big book. It's full of so many rules, and not necessarily rules but laws, you know, and you don't have to add your own. We don't need your own. It's actually going to cause more harm than good, because God, in all his omniscient wisdom and understanding, he has so structured, he's so formulated his laws to bring out the good. He's aware of so much, you know, he's aware of the ripples of the things he demands from his people. If humans make a rule, they make a rule in light of one particular point that they want to address. They do not see all the relationships that come together with that thing. And that's how we make total blunders in our laws, in how we manage people. Let people flourish. Let people's creativity flourish. Don't be that person. If you are a friend, do not pressure somebody. Do not mock your friends over fashion. Do not mock your friends over. If you have a friend who likes to play the violin and you like to play soccer, it's not that they are less men for that. If they have an appreciation for arts, if they have an appreciation for, you know, something that appears more gentle, if I may put it that way, it does not take away from their masculinity. It is not your duty to break them down. I absolutely love Beethoven. I love Mozart, Bach, Vivaldi. I love classical music. It's the best music there is, according to me. And I cannot allow people to judge me on that. I have not pursued it, but I have a dream to play the viola. Now, if you are that person who will hinder me? What if your friend whom you mock for loving those things, who loves music, who loves playing instruments, what if they are meant to be somebody great? What if your friend is the next Mozart? What if your friend is the next Beethoven? I mean, are we really so shallow? Are we really so self-centered that everything should please us? Is people's success, their genius, only supposed to appear in the ways that we dictate to them? Don't be that person. If you want to be a sheep, excuse me for that one, if you want to live a conventional life, don't drag other people down to that. If other people want to aspire, if other people want to see what potential they have, see where they can go in life, how far they can go, you have no business being in their way. In fact, that shows lack of love. To me, that's always my struggle. If I encounter a person, no matter their motivations, whether it's for the sake of the organization, whether it's for the sake of that person's future, if they will not allow that person's genius to manifest in a way that it manifests itself in the way that it naturally is, I see that person as self-centered. I see that person as evil. I see that person as malicious, unkind. You are hindering somebody from becoming all that they could be, the best that they could be. And that makes me think of teachers. Now, the thing with teachers is really funny. It's really funny because looking back, many teachers told me that I wouldn't amount to anything. And even that destroyed. Okay, I didn't care. Let me not lie. I didn't care because I knew myself. I knew what I was capable of. And I would always laugh at them when they would say those things. I was a naughty child in school. Of course, I was naughty because I was bored to death. And teachers, look out for those students that, they are playful, and you when you see their conduct, you can have no hope of them passing at the end of the year or the end of the term. But somehow, out of nowhere, they are usually one of the top achievers in class, or even just above average, and it makes no sense. How is it that they perform that way? I would say look out for them and reach out to them. Help those children. Help those youngsters. And it might not be helping them in terms of giving them special tuitions or helping them better understand the work or encouraging them to study more. Maybe it might be that. But in general, they have something. Maybe they know it, maybe they don't know it, and you could reach out to them and find out what is it that sparks them. Because usually, like myself, as much as I was playful in school and didn't pay too much attention to my studies, English class moved me. Biology class moved me. I loved science. I still do. I love science. And that's why I ended up doing health. And that's why I ended up doing that, doing natural medicine. Because I love biology. Now, my biology teacher was the best teacher I've ever had, and she picked up on that and she nurtured it. I was a rascal and I didn't respond as well as I should have, but I'm still very grateful for her. She inspired me. She made school bearable for me, somewhat. It's a stupid institution. It's proving more useless over time. It does not stimulate kids rightly. It's a system of indoctrination. It does not inspire one to grow and develop and improve upon the knowledge of one's predecessors, but it's all about learning stuff that other people set up. It is learning to think other people's thoughts and not necessarily how to think your own, how to pick up from where they finished off and take things to new heights. Now, if you are a teacher, you want to inspire that. And really being too conventional, being too limiting, too narrow in your approach to education, which is funny because that's also another thing that I do. I also teach, and yeah, I would say that I'm doing particularly well with it. I'm not sure if I could do as well if I was teaching younger people, because I'm kind of impatient. So with the people that I am teaching, they are pretty happy with how things are going. And my approach is not a conventional way to teaching, but the people are inspired. The people that I teach, they are inspired. They're growing. You know how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? That's what I do for a living. Okay, not necessarily for a living, because I don't charge yet for what I'm teaching. But of the people that I do teach, lives are changing, and because lives are changing, people are learning new things. I'm discovering that many people, because their teachers did not pick it up or could not work with it well enough, they did not become all that they could be. But hope is not lost. Hope is utterly not lost. You can still chase your dreams. You can still become all that you set out to be, or you were set up to be and didn't become. You can still become all those things. Even later in life, you can learn new trades, new skills. You can learn new fields. Most of the stuff that I do now, it's stuff that I picked up in the last 5 years. And right now I'm learning about making these YouTube videos. I'm learning about video editing, sound editing, all of that to make this YouTube channel happen. And I'm relatively still young, but for things that I didn't have in mind growing up, for things that I never considered to be my strengths, I'm doing okay, and I'm quite happy because I still have the rest of my life to improve, you know? So, people, don't be sheep people. That poem that I opened with, that's a poem that I wrote 2 years back when there was this huge woo-ha in my family. Okay, I don't know why I just said my family, but in my country, about gender-based violence. And here's the thing about gender-based violence. It's there. It's real. It's happening. Way more than it should be happening. But you know what? It's also not happening as much as the media would make us believe that it's happening. It's not really the point of this video, but the point of this thing is people were so caught up. That poem was based on that don't be so triggered by what you see. It's in the media. I did not recite the whole thing. I just, did the first 5 stanzas of it, but it could be longer. The point is, don't be a sheep person. Do not persecute. Do not trouble other souls. Do not be the death of other people. Let them flourish. Thank you.